at the center, as they are sun worshippers. Heliocentrism is simply modern-day sun worship masquerading as a science. So their goal from the beginning was to put the sun at the center. So how do you do this? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to make the sun much larger than the Earth. For the Earth to orbit the sun's going to have to be much larger than the Earth. So they made the sun over 1 million times larger than the Earth. But when I stand on Earth and I look at the sun, it looks no bigger than a quarter. So if the sun is over 1 million times larger than the Earth, how come I observe it no bigger than a quarter? So how do you explain this? Oh, well, that's because the sun is really far away. So since we had to make the sun really big to place the sun at the center, now we have to make the sun really far away. So let's make the sun 93 million miles away. But now we've dug ourselves into a deep hole, because now we've made the diameter of the Earth's orbit around the sun roughly 186 million miles wide. And Polaris never moves. The North Pole in June is separated from the North Pole in December by roughly 186 million miles, and yet both poles point to Polaris. So how do we account for this? Oh, well, we're just going to have to make Polaris really far away to account for the fact that we see no observable parallax from June to December. So the only way to rationalize away this is to make Polaris over 2.55 quadrillion miles away. But I ask you, if Polaris is over 2.55 quadrillion miles away, how come I can see it? Oh, well, that's because Polaris is really freaking big. Polaris is 46 times the size of the sun, and the sun is over 1 million times the size of the Earth. Every explanation has to be reverse engineered, because they started with an ultimate goal of placing the sun at the center. Every other fact that they create is reverse engineered to make this work.
Does the Eratosthenes experiment prove that the Earth is round? Eratosthenes, a passionate Pythagorean, takes some of the outrageously fantastical out of Pythagoras' concept and declares the sun as being the visible central fire, yet keeps the fantastic character of that myth alive by postulating parallel sun rays. But parallel sun rays you only get with a light source occupying 180 degrees of the sky, as is always depicted but never observed. The sun clearly does not occupy 180 degrees of the sky, but only 0.5 degrees. So this is so blatantly nonsensical. One wonders about the cognitive capacity of folks. What we see is the effect of a 0.5 angular size light source. No matter what you speculate the distance and size of that source to be, Copernicus speculated the sun's distance from the Earth to be 3,391,200 miles. Kepler decided it was actually 12,376,800 miles away. Newton once said,
"It matters not whether we reckon it 28 or 54 million miles distance, either would do just as well."
How scientific. Of course it matters, because Newton, of all, should know that an orbit is theoretically dependent on the body residing in the hub of the orbit. Benjamin Martin calculated between 82 million miles. Thomas Dilworth claimed 93,726,900 miles. John Hind stated positively 95,298,260 miles. Benjamin Gould said more than 96 million miles, and Christian Mayer thought it was more than 104 million. Whatever you say about size and distance, you have to adjust both so they fit the observed fact that the sun is a light source in the sky of 0.5 degrees angular size. And then both distance and size become irrelevant for the shadow casting effect, because D over R reduces exactly to the observed 0.5 degrees angular size. For the shadow casting effect, only this angular size counts, not the absolute, and the measured effect thus coincides only with a flat plane, not a sphere. If this experiment proves one thing, it is a flat plane.